Hi everyone, welcome to your first step in writing the literature review, which is about choosing a research topic. In this PowerPoint, we will talk about a research topic and I will also provide you some information about the literature review so that you know what is the connection between these two. Selecting a research topic is very important because that and the research question is very important because that is what guides your literature review. So the first thing to do is think about what you are interested in. Look at the place you are working or your surroundings. Start with something that you want to investigate. Now, there is a lot that you may want to investigate, but here is where the thing comes in. Do something that is doable. You are going to do a literature review and you may want to take it further and expand it next semester, or you may want to leave it and do completely different thing. But for this semester, you're going to have a research question and you are going to write a lit review, a 7 to 8 page lit review. So you would want it to be something that is doable. And honestly, this is the most students take applied research after intro to research. You want it to be doable because you are actually going to do this in your applied research class. I have taught that class and I am telling you from experience that it really helps to have a good literature review because that is half the work done. Having a good research question because that is almost 75% of the work done because then you are just doing your research in the next class. So let's look at other things. Now, remember, this is an investigation. You are not setting out to prove anything, because you are not collecting data. You are not doing any intervention. You're only writing a literature review. The applied research class is when you actually prove, disapprove, show if it is right or wrong. Okay. All right. So now let us talk about how to choose a research question. So I'm going to give you a discipline example and then I'm going to give you a non-discipline example. For example, I am very interested in exploring or understanding how students think about math. Well, that is a very huge or a general topic. So I'm going to narrow it down and say, I am very interested to know how students think about place value. So from all the topics that is there in math, I have narrowed it down to place value because that is about position of digits. Now I want to look at how do students think about place value using manipulatives. This is also very broad because there are different types of manipulatives. So I narrow that down, say maybe let's look at base 10 blocks. So my research question then becomes, how do students or how does using base 10 blocks influence students? And then here instead of students, I'll say elementary students because I'm narrowing my number of participants and research type. Elementary students think about place value in a second grade class or in a third grade class, or I could just say in an elementary school if I am investigating multiple classes. So that is an example of looking at a discipline one. This is another example. If you say, what is the effect of social media on people's minds? Very broad. You have different types of social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like there is so much out there. So I could just say, what is the effect of use of Facebook on now people's mind? I'm going to narrow it down, maybe on teenagers depression levels, or on teenagers perceptions of happiness or something like that. Or I can even look at the attention span. I can look at any of those things, but I have to narrow it down to a specific question because it's just too broad. That is what is talking about choosing a research topic and trying to narrow it down. And I am going to provide you full support as you work towards it. So the reason you have to do this is because the specificity of your question is necessary in finding the data. So you're going to find articles related to it, literature review related to it, and then you're also going to collect data in your next class, and most often students go. But if you're not even going to applied research, you still have to find literature review related to it, and they all should tie together. You're going to use the library, Academic Search Complete or Academic Search to find peer-reviewed articles. And if you do not know how to do that, please talk to me and I can help you with that. All your review articles or all the articles that you find should be primary resources. That means they are written and you are reporting first-hand information, not secondary. No news reports, they are all secondary. Books are secondary sources. Journal articles are the ones that are primary sources. Now, you can have a book. I'm not saying you cannot have a book, but I am not going to give credit for more than one book in the references. You have to have a minimum of 10 peer-reviewed, not more than 5 to 8 year old primary sources for your article, for your literature review. Now, they should not be more than 5 to 8. Now, there is landmark and classical studies out there. That means those are the ones that actually first did it. Like when I'm talking about self-efficacy, the first one is, oh, I need to cite Piaget or I need to cite those people. So that is called seminal pieces, which will be there or which could be there, but your articles need to be more recent. So just recapping what we've been talking about, pick something that is reasonable, pick something that is doable. Your goal this semester is to learn the research process, find out from complete to end is how do I get a research question? How do I narrow it down? How do I find the sources? How do I synthesize the sources? Talking about how do I get information from the different resources and write it as a synthesis process. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what is good research, because when you read those articles, then you're going to come to know, oh, this is a quantitative research, it involves numbers, or this is a qualitative research that involves thoughts and process, and that is the research process. All right, so next thing is, I also want you guys to keep thinking about why are you doing this? What is the purpose of a lit review? What are you doing that will add to provide information or add to the research that is already there? So that is another really important thing to think about. This is supposed to be a synthesis of what you know about the topic, not a review of researchers. So if you have a paragraph and you are just talking about what that researcher said, and then another paragraph what that researcher said, that is not a synthesis. That is review of research or review of what the researchers have said. So this needs to be a paper in which, oh, this was said by so many people, or so many people talked about this, so this is what it thinks it is. So giving you more specific guidelines, you can only have 2 quotes throughout the paper. Everything else is going to be paraphrased, or and then in one page, if you have to have at least minimum of 3 to 4. I'm not sure why this keeps coming. A minimum of 3 to 4 researchers. But if you have just paragraph, like in a paragraph, you have to have a minimum of 3 researchers, not even a page, because you could have 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs on a page and say, no, I've had that. So in a paragraph that you're talking about, you would have minimum of 3 researchers, because a paragraph represents one topic or one idea. Research studies are more valuable than opinions. Yes, we all have opinions, and those are important. But for a literature review, these are the people who actually conducted the study, found out whether what they were thinking about was true or not, and they have proved it. They have shown evidence to prove their arguments, and hence research studies are more valuable than opinions. Now, you can look at the research study and state that we do not think this is going to happen, but then when you prove your opinion is when that becomes more valuable. So you have to have research studies in the paper. You may know that this is true. Oh yes, I know teachers are stressed out, or I know the discipline issues, I know about it. That's not the point. The point is, have you read research has shown you that this is true or not? So that is very important, to have a backing of an argument that I'm making. You have evidence to prove the argument that you are doing. So make a case for why your topic is valuable. Be specific about it. Explain us why it is. Then you're talking about parts of explain. Why are those parts? For example, is when you talk about people. People is a very general term, or students is very general. Are you talking about middle school, elementary? Are you talking about age group 6 to 14? What are you doing? Okay, so the best way to win an argument is to take a win out of someone else's says. Think about it in terms of your being a lawyer. To win a case, you need to provide the evidence. To win a case, you need to provide the backing you need for your argument. And that is what you're doing in your literature review. So we already talked about this. So for your assignment, you have a discussion board in which you are going to brainstorm your research topic. Post as many times as you want. You're going to be provided feedback from me and from the peers. Details are all given in the folder. And as you are getting feedback, keep revising. Don't be in a hurry to post your answers. Okay, don't be in a hurry to make a post. Think about the questions that have been posed. Think about the research question. Think about the topic. Okay, how am I narrowing down which people am I, what is my research site? What are my participants? What's my independent? I am looking at the impact of this variable on this variable. So looking at those things. So that is what you are doing for your very first assignment, choosing a research topic. And this is a very ongoing discussion board, because it is going to go on for about 2 to 3 weeks, as you're going to keep posting, providing feedback. Now I am going to do checks to see who has posted, who has not posted, but I'm not going to do a check every day. Okay, so take your time in thinking about these questions. Best of luck. And I am here to support you all. And if you have any doubts, any confusion, please do not hesitate to ask. We are all developing ideas, and so we may want to talk it through. I am happy to talk on the phone, schedule a virtual conference with you guys. You already have one Zoom meeting that you need to attend, so that is also going to help you just talk the idea through and then understand it more. I look forward to listening and knowing all the awesome research topics that you guys are thinking about.